What if the truth you've been seeking isn't out there, but hidden in one simple step you've never been taught? This audiobook cracks the code of the 33rd degree, where identity shifts, reality obeys. Your next level isn't far away. It's one shift from now. Ready to remember? Introduction. What if everything you've ever wanted, everything, was already within reach, but hidden behind just one simple shift that no one ever taught you how to make? What if the answers to the questions that have kept you up at night, the success you chase, the peace you crave, the confidence you pretend to have but don't fully feel, weren't buried in some complex strategy or found in someone else's blueprint, but were encoded in a step so simple, so primal, so universal, that most people overlook it entirely? You've been trained to believe that transformation is supposed to be hard, slow, and complicated. But what if it's not? What if the thing that's kept you stuck isn't the problem, but the illusion that the solution is far away? This is not another feel-good audiobook full of vague advice. This is a wake-up call, a secret decoded, a key that turns in a lock most people didn't even realize was there. You're about to uncover the 33rd degree secret, and once you do, you'll never see reality the same way again. Let's be honest, you didn't stumble across this audiobook by accident. Deep down, part of you already knows there's something more. You've felt it your whole life, haven't you? That hum beneath the noise, that voice behind the fear, that quiet inner truth whispering. There's a deeper level to this. You've done the work. You've read the books. You've tried the routines, the affirmations, the hustle, the healing, the seeking. And maybe it helped for a while. Maybe you've even built a life that looks successful on the outside. But secretly, something still feels off. Like you're playing a role, wearing a mask, holding back some epic, raw, untapped part of yourself. You can't quite name it, but you can feel it. A gap between who you are and who you know you're meant to be. That's what this audiobook is here to collapse. Not by handing you more information, but by guiding you into one powerful inner shift that changes everything. And once you make it, nothing will be able to stop you. Now here's the part that no one talks about, the real meaning of the 33rd degree. You might think it's just a Masonic symbol, a number shrouded in mystery and secrecy. But behind that number lies an ancient truth. The 33rd degree isn't a rank, it's a revelation. It's not about elite knowledge, it's about complete embodiment. The 33rd degree represents the moment where knowing becomes being. It's the line where your inner world becomes so aligned, so activated, so unshakable, that your outer world has no choice but to shift in response. It's the frequency where your self-concept becomes your superpower, the energy where you stop seeking miracles and become one. That's why this book isn't a step-by-step process. It's one simple step, repeated with radical clarity. One step that shifts your reality, not gradually, but fundamentally. This is about resonance, identity, command. It's about no longer outsourcing your power to circumstances, people, or timing. Once you understand what the 33rd degree really symbolizes, you'll stop playing the game and start writing the rules. And listen, when I say one simple step, I don't mean easy. There's a reason most people never take it. Because while the step itself is simple, it asks for something big, something real, something most people avoid their entire lives. It asks you to finally see yourself fully, to drop the roles, to quit the performance, to stop shrinking and pretending and waiting. The 33rd degree step asks you to stop being who you were trained to be and start becoming who you really are. It demands presence, truth, ownership, not perfection, but embodiment. This one step calls you to become dangerous to mediocrity, allergic to self-abandonment, and immune to anyone's version of success but your own. It asks you to stop managing your image and start commanding your reality. This is where the real shift happens. And once you make it, your old life becomes impossible to go back to. So, what can you expect from this audiobook? Transformation, not the kind that takes years, but the kind that hits you like lightning. Each chapter has been designed to unravel the mental programs you didn't know were running your life, to expose the blind spots, break the illusions, and ignite a version of you that's already whole, but dormant. You'll go through 14 immersive chapters, each one engineered to peel back another layer and reconnect you to your deepest frequency. You'll feel seen. You'll feel called out. You'll feel activated. This isn't passive listening. This is cellular rewiring. Identity recalibration. You'll learn how to shift not just your mindset, but your magnetism, not just your behavior, but your energetic baseline. And by the end, you'll be walking, speaking, and living like the person your future has been waiting for. Make no mistake, this isn't about motivation. Motivation fades. This is about identity. You won't need external pressure to keep going after this, because once you see what's been possible all along, you won't want to play small ever again. You'll stop entertaining relationships that drain you. You'll stop tolerating environments that suffocate you. You'll stop putting off the things your soul has been screaming to birth. Not because someone told you to, but because the old you won't even recognize the new standard you now carry. And that's the shift. The one simple step that turns confusion into clarity, lack into overflow, fear into fuel, and your life into a living embodiment of truth. It all starts now. So if you're ready to stop being the person who almost changes everything and finally become the one who does, then press play on Chapter 1. But don't say I didn't warn you. Once you take this step, there's no going back. You'll see too much, you'll feel too much, you'll know too much. And thank God for that, because you didn't come here to live half awake. You came here to shift your reality. And it all begins with this one simple step. Chapter 1. The Hidden Code. What is the 33rd degree? Symbolism and esoteric roots. Have you ever had a moment when everything paused, just for a second, and you felt something beneath the surface of your life calling you? A moment where your soul whispered, "There's more than this." You could be doing the dishes, stuck in traffic, or staring out a window, but something inside you awakens like it's been waiting lifetimes. That's not your imagination. That's not a glitch. That's the code beginning to reveal itself. The 33rd degree. A symbol, a myth, a frequency, and a reality. But here's what they don't tell you. The 33rd degree isn't something you achieve. It's something you remember. It's not a status. It's a state of consciousness. This chapter isn't about information. It's about initiation. This isn't about learning something new. It's about remembering who you've always been beneath the noise, the programming, and the performance. You are not here to blend in. You are here to wake up. Let's get one thing clear. The 33rd degree has often been shrouded in secrecy and surrounded by symbolism. But at its core, it represents personal mastery. Historically linked to esoteric traditions and Freemasonry, this degree is not about elitism, but evolution. It's the symbolic summit of inner work, the point at which a person transcends external conditioning and steps into full awareness. In numerology, the number 33 is a master number, vibrating with the energies of compassion, enlightenment, and deep spiritual truth. But you don't need to be a numerologist to feel the weight of that number. It shows up everywhere, on clocks, receipts, pages, signs, flashing like a cosmic wink. And every time it appears, it's asking, are you ready? The spine, the literal pillar of human structure, has 33 vertebrae. Think about that. The same number associated with full spiritual ascension is encoded into your body. That's not just design, that's destiny. You see, symbols like the 33rd degree weren't created for entertainment. They were created for encoding truth that transcends language. Ancient wisdom is often hidden, not because it's dangerous, but because it's sacred. And sacred things must be discovered through experience, not simply handed over. That's why this journey starts not with answers, but with questions. Who told you who you are? Who handed you the identity you're currently living in? Was it your parents? Your culture? Your school? And if you stripped all of that away, what would be left? That's the first layer of the hidden code, the understanding that most of your life has been a downloaded program. And the 33rd degree? That's the override, the power of a single step. Here's where it gets beautiful. Change doesn't begin with grand gestures. It begins with one step, one moment of awareness, one pause between stimulus and reaction, one conscious breath in a sea of autopilot. You don't need to fix your entire life overnight. You don't need to escape to a mountaintop or walk on coals or chant in the jungle. Though those things can help. The most powerful shift is the simplest one. The decision to wake up. The decision to stop operating on someone else's programming and start writing your own code. And that shift, it happens in a single moment. One step, one decision, one shift in perspective, and the entire trajectory of your life changes. That's the secret. It's so simple that most people miss it. People want complexity. We've been taught to respect things that feel hard. But truth doesn't need to be complicated to be profound. The most revolutionary transformations begin with the smallest awareness. You don't need more advice. You need to remember your power. That's the step. The step is the return to self, the return to choice, the return to presence. Because when you are present, you are powerful. When you are aware, you are sovereign. When you see, you can't unsee. That's why the 33rd degree isn't a mountain you climb. It's a veil you lift. And once lifted, nothing looks the same again. Let's be real. Life is loud. It's noisy, chaotic, and relentless. We are bombarded with distractions designed to keep us asleep. Scrolling, swiping, comparing, consuming, until our minds are cluttered with everyone else's stories and our own voice becomes a whisper. But beneath that noise, your soul has been waiting. Waiting for you to remember. Waiting for you to come back to the present moment where all your power lives. You don't need to have it all figured out. You just need to take the first step toward truth, toward clarity, toward the you that was never broken to begin with. Truth hidden in plain sight. The universe doesn't hide truth. It embeds it. It scatters it across your path like breadcrumbs, waiting for you to notice. Look around at sacred geometry in nature, the repeating numbers in your life, the intuitive hits you get when you meet certain people or walk into certain rooms. Truth is always speaking. The question is, are you listening? The 33rd degree is hidden in plain sight because it's not about status. It's about seeing differently. It's the shift from reaction to awareness. It's looking at a mirror and not seeing flaws, but form. It's hearing criticism and not shrinking, but standing taller. It's experiencing pain and choosing to grow instead of numb. These are the hidden codes of life, and once you learn to decode them, everything becomes a message. Everything becomes a guide. Most people walk through life blind to the deeper layers. They chase achievements, approval, material success, believing that the outer world will validate their inner worth. But the truth is flipped. Your inner world creates your outer experience. You attract not what you want, but what you are. So if you want to change your world, don't chase. Shift. Shift your identity. Shift your energy. Shift the story you tell yourself every single day. That's how you begin to see what was there all along. Think about the heroes you admire, the people who seem magnetic, clear, and powerful. It's not what they do, it's who they are. They've tuned into a different frequency. They've stopped outsourcing their value. They've stopped waiting for permission. And that's the invitation of the 33rd degree, to stop living by default and start living by design. The shift begins with awareness. Everything begins with awareness, not action, not effort, not striving. Awareness, because you cannot change what you do not first see. The first gift of awakening is the ability to observe your thoughts without identifying with them, to catch yourself in the middle of a reaction and choose something different. That's the one simple step. That's the entire game, and that's the beginning of freedom. When you become aware, you become powerful. You stop blaming and start building. You stop surviving and start creating. Awareness is the key that unlocks the next level of your life. It's not passive. It's not weak. It's precision. To observe your inner world without judgment is the highest act of intelligence. And from that place, you can dismantle anything that no longer serves you. Limiting beliefs, old identities, inherited narratives, they all begin to dissolve in the presence of true awareness. But awareness isn't just about seeing what's wrong. It's about seeing what's possible. It's about waking up to the truth that your current life is not a prison. It's a projection. And you are the projector. That means if you change the film, you change the experience. That's what this book, this journey, this chapter is about. It's about recognizing that the code has been inside you all along, waiting for activation. You don't need to be fixed. You need to be found. Found by your own consciousness. Found by your own willingness to look, to listen, to remember. The shift begins not when life changes, but when you change your lens. That's when miracles happen. Not because the external world suddenly bends to your will, but because you start seeing it differently. You begin to walk through life with eyes wide open. You begin to show up as the real you, not the version that was shaped by fear, but the one forged in awareness, the one that was always enough, the one that's been waiting at the 33rd floor all along. And now you're here. You found the elevator. The question is, are you ready to step in? Chapter 2. Reality is a mirror. How your thoughts shape your world. If life feels like a constant tug of war between what you want and what you keep getting, this chapter might be the shift you never knew you needed. Let me start with a truth that might sting before it sets you free. Your reality isn't happening to you. It's happening through you. Everything you experience, the joy, the pain, the delays, the breakthroughs, it's all being filtered, interpreted, and projected by the most powerful lens you own, your mind. Now, before you raise an eyebrow or feel that familiar resistance creeping in, pause. Breathe. This isn't about blame. This is about power. Because once you understand how your thoughts shape your world, you stop waiting for external permission to feel good. You stop trying to force the universe into submission. Instead, you realize that the universe has always been listening. It's just been mirroring back the frequency you've been unconsciously broadcasting. Here's where it gets real. Most people go their entire lives trying to fix their outer circumstances, like rearranging the furniture in a burning house. They chase promotions, relationships, praise, validation, believing that something out there will finally bring peace in here. But it never works. Why? Because the external world is not the cause. It's the effect. It's a reflection of your dominant thoughts, beliefs, emotions, and expectations. If you've ever heard someone say, "I knew that was going to happen," and they were right, you've witnessed this mirror effect in action. It's not magic. It's not luck. It's alignment. Your thoughts are energetic blueprints. When repeated with emotion and belief, they become commands to your subconscious, which then sets in motion a series of internal and external reactions designed to prove you right. Because your mind doesn't want you to be happy, it wants you to be correct. And if you believe the world is unsafe, or that people always leave, or that success is reserved for others, guess what? Your mind will work overtime to find evidence to support that belief. It will filter out the good, highlight the pain, and feed the very story that's been caging your potential. This is where your power comes back online. Because once you see that your thoughts are shaping your world, you realize something extraordinary. You can choose different ones. You can shift your story. You can disrupt the loop. You can wake up from the trance of limitation and step into conscious creation. This is the core of the 33rd degree mindset. Radical responsibility paired with unshakable compassion. You are not at fault for your programming, but you are responsible for what you do with it now. That shift from unconscious reaction to conscious response is the step that turns mirrors into doorways. Let me tell you a story. A woman I once coached had spent years stuck in a loop of financial stress. No matter how hard she worked, how much she saved, or how many side hustles she started, she always seemed to just get by. She'd joke that money runs away from me. At first, it sounded harmless, but over time, I noticed it wasn't a joke, it was a belief. A narrative she'd repeated so many times that her subconscious had accepted it as law. So, we did the work. We unpacked her childhood experiences, the messages she absorbed from her environment, and the identity she had unknowingly built around struggle. And slowly, gently, she rewrote that story. She began to speak differently, expect differently, and most importantly, feel differently about abundance. Within months, her financial reality shifted, not because she suddenly became lucky, but because she stopped projecting the old story into the mirror of life. She changed her frequency, and reality responded. That's not a fluke. That's alignment, projection, and perception explained. Think of your mind like a projector in a dark room. The film loaded inside it, your beliefs, stories, and expectations, gets cast onto the screen in front of you. Which is your life? What you see isn't necessarily truth. It's a reflection of your perception. And if the film inside is filled with fear, unworthiness, resentment, or shame, no matter how beautiful the world actually is, your experience of it will be dimmed, distorted, and disconnected. You'll walk through paradise, but feel like you're trapped, because the prison was never outside. It was in your lens. But here's the catch. Perception isn't fixed. It's learned. And anything learned can be unlearned. When you shift your perception, you're not ignoring reality. You're redefining it. You're choosing to see through a different filter. That's not delusion. That's discernment. There's an ancient saying, we don't see things as they are. We see them as we are. That single insight, when fully embodied, can transform your entire life. It means you don't need to manipulate circumstances to feel peace. You just need to change the way you look at them. I want you to consider this. What if everything that triggers you is actually trying to teach you? What if every frustration is an invitation to evolve? What if the difficult people in your life are mirrors reflecting back the parts of you that are asking for attention, for healing, for integration? The moment you adopted this lens, the world stops being against you and starts being for your evolution. And once that switch flips, you step into the most empowered role there is, creator. This doesn't mean bypassing your emotions or pretending everything is fine. Quite the opposite. It means becoming so self-aware that even your most painful emotions become allies. You stop asking, why is this happening to me? And start asking, what is this showing me about me? That question, that one question, can become your daily compass. And every time you answer it with honesty, you pull another thread of unconsciousness out of your field. You become lighter, clearer, more sovereign. The mirror gets cleaner, and the reflection begins to change. Emotional resonance and reflection. Let's talk about the emotional frequency you're broadcasting. Every thought you think generates a corresponding emotion, and those emotions radiate out from you like a signal. You've felt this before. You walk into a room, and without anyone speaking, you can feel the energy. Maybe it feels tense, or warm, or cold, or magnetic. That's emotional resonance, and it works both ways. You are constantly emitting energy, and that energy becomes the magnet that pulls experiences toward you. Not based on what you say you want, but based on what you consistently feel. So if you're walking around with suppressed anger, deep fear, or chronic doubt, those emotions will shape your lens and distort the signals you send out. You might smile on the outside, but if your core vibration is fear-based, life will keep mirroring back reasons to be afraid. It's not personal, it's physics. Energy responds to energy, and the universe, in its infinite precision, will reflect back to you whatever you're most emotionally aligned with, not to punish you, but to wake you up. But here's the magic. You can change your emotional signature. You can shift from fear to trust, from shame to worthiness, from scarcity to sufficiency. Not through force, but through conscious attention. Through practices that bring you back into your body, back into your breath, and back into your now. Because when you are present, your energy becomes coherent. And a coherent field attracts coherent experiences. The mirror shifts, not when you fake a smile, but when you truly feel the joy of being alive, when you remember who you are beneath the programming. That's when life starts reflecting your soul, not your survival script. Tuning into the frequency of change. The truth is, you don't need to chase change. You need to tune into it. Just like a radio, the signal is already out there. The version of you who feels free, fulfilled, magnetic, and grounded, that version exists, not someday. Now. But to experience it, you have to match the frequency. You have to become emotionally, mentally, and energetically aligned with that identity. That's what tuning in means. It's not about effort. It's about resonance. So ask yourself, what would it feel like to already be that version of you? What would you believe? How would you carry yourself? What would you stop tolerating? What would you start claiming? These are not just mindset exercises. They are frequency activations. Every time you embody that future self, even for a moment, you send a new signal into the field. And that signal draws in new opportunities, new people, new paths. Not because you forced it, but because you became it. This is the mirror of reality. It doesn't respond to wishful thinking. It responds to embodied energy. So the next time something triggers you, don't just react, reflect. Ask, what am I broadcasting right now? What belief is this moment revealing? What would my highest self choose here? And then, choose differently. Even 1 degree of shift, repeated with intention, can change your entire direction. Chapter 3. The one step that changes everything from reaction to response. There's a moment, so subtle, so fleeting, that it often slips by unnoticed. A moment that lives between stimulus and response. Something happens. Someone says something. A challenge arises, and before we know it, we're reacting. Emotionally, defensively, habitually. Most people live their entire lives inside this knee-jerk cycle, mistaking reactivity for identity. But what if I told you that the most powerful transformation you'll ever experience, the one step that changes everything, begins not in doing more, but in doing differently. Specifically, in choosing your response. That's the first domino. That's the awakening moment. And it's not reserved for monks on mountaintops or mystics lost in the forest. It's available to you. Right here, right now, in the heat of your everyday life. When you live in reaction, you're a puppet of your past. Your nervous system is hijacked by old wounds, your thoughts are echoes of inherited beliefs, and your emotions become predictable scripts that keep recreating the same reality over and over. It's not your fault. The world conditions us to react. Media thrives on outrage. Culture rewards instant gratification. Survival patterns, developed in childhood or trauma, get mistaken for personality traits. But reaction isn't truth. It's training. And that means it can be untrained. The power lies in interrupting the cycle, in pausing long enough to breathe, to observe, and to choose your next move. That moment of conscious choice breaks the loop of the past and opens a portal into a new future. When you shift from reaction to response, you reclaim sovereignty. You stop handing over your emotional state to every trigger, every disappointment, every delay. You become internally sourced. You begin to respond from presence, not programming. And let me tell you, there's nothing more magnetic than a human who owns their energy. When people around you lash out and you remain grounded, not out of suppression, but out of true centeredness, you become a mirror that reflects back their chaos while refusing to participate in it. You become a calming force. You become a signal of leadership, of mastery, of maturity. And life begins to meet you at that level. This isn't about being passive. It's about being powerful. Because the most powerful people aren't the loudest in the room. They're the ones who can choose how to respond when their entire body wants to scream. They're the ones who can meet adversity without collapsing, hold boundaries without guilt, and speak truth without needing to dominate. That kind of power doesn't just change conversations, it shifts timelines. Conscious observation, the gateway. Now let's talk about how you actually do this. How do you create space between the trigger and the reaction? How do you catch yourself mid-pattern and choose differently when the programming feels so automatic? The answer is deceptively simple, yet profoundly transformative. Conscious observation. Observation is not the same as thinking. Thinking can spiral. Thinking can deceive. But observation is spacious. It's the part of you that watches the thoughts without getting entangled in them. It's awareness, it's presence, and it is your gateway to liberation. Imagine you're watching a storm from inside a glass room. The wind howls, the rain lashes, lightning cracks, but you're untouched. You see it all, but you are not in it. That's what conscious observation feels like. Your emotions may rise, your thoughts may surge, but you don't immediately believe or react to them. You witness. And that witnessing creates distance. That distance creates choice. And choice is where the old story ends and a new one begins. The reason this is so powerful is because most of your reactions are not coming from the present moment. They're coming from past imprints stored in your body. That sarcastic comment from your coworker? It echoes an old memory of not being respected. That text left unread? It scratches the wound of abandonment. That rejection, it reactivates the belief that you're not enough. But when you're in observation, you can see the wound without being the wound. You can say, this isn't about them. This is about me, and I have the power to choose differently. This shift from identification to observation is the crux of emotional freedom. Because once you can see a pattern, you're no longer its prisoner. You become its editor. And in that role, you get to revise the story. You get to keep what empowers you and release what doesn't. That's not just healing, that's authorship. Reclaiming the now. One of the great tragedies of modern life is that most people are never fully here. Their bodies are present, but their minds are bouncing between a past they can't change and a future they can't control. They live in mental time travel, rehearsing conversations that never happened, replaying regrets, catastrophizing outcomes. And while they're busy doing all that, the now, the only place where power exists, is slipping through their fingers. But what if you could stop that spiral? What if you could drop into this moment, fully, completely, unapologetically, and find your peace, your clarity, and your next right step right here? Reclaiming the now isn't a fluffy concept. It's a discipline. It's the practice of returning to your breath when your thoughts start to race. It's the courage to feel your feelings instead of fleeing from them. It's the decision to bring your full attention to the task in front of you, whether that's folding laundry or launching a business. The now is not glamorous. It's not loud, but it is potent. Because when you're fully in the present, you're no longer reacting from old wounds or projecting onto imagined futures. You're responding from alignment, and aligned action is exponentially more powerful than frantic effort. Here's a truth that many miss. All transformation happens now. Not tomorrow, not next year, not after I get the job or once I heal. Those are delays, excuses, protectors of the comfort zone. The only place you can actually shift your state, your story, and your signal is in this moment. And every time you anchor into the now, you anchor into your power. You become unshakable, not because life stops throwing curveballs, but because you stop outsourcing your center. You become a calm eye in the storm. And from that still point, your decisions carry weight. Your presence becomes felt. Your energy speaks louder than your words. This is what it means to walk the 33rd degree path. It means you live from presence. You lead from presence. You love from presence. And you no longer let the past dictate your future. That's the quiet revolution. That's the step that most overlook because it doesn't come with fireworks. But make no mistake, it is the single step that sets everything else in motion. Becoming the author of your story. Let's bring it all together. Once you move from reaction to response, from identification to observation, from projection to presence, you stand at a new threshold. And on the other side of that threshold is authorship. The realization that you are not just a character in the story. You are the writer. You get to shape the narrative. You get to choose the arc. You get to decide what meaning you assign to every plot twist, every conflict, every scene. And once you own that truth, you stop waiting for permission. You stop playing small. You start editing the beliefs that limit you, highlighting the ones that empower you, and crafting a story that actually reflects your essence, not your wounds. Now, authorship is not about denial. It's about direction. It's not pretending the past didn't happen. It's deciding what you make it mean. Because two people can go through the same fire. One comes out bitter, the other comes out wiser. The difference isn't the event. It's the story they told themselves about the event. And that story becomes the seed of their future. So what's the story you're telling right now? About your worth? About your capabilities? About your destiny? Is it a story of survival or one of sovereignty? Here's the truth. The pen has always been in your hand. You may have forgotten. You may have let others write for you, parents, society, past lovers, failures. But the pen never left. And this chapter, this moment, is your invitation to pick it back up, to stop repeating old paragraphs and start writing new ones, to stop reacting and start responding, to stop living as a reflection of your programming and start leading as a reflection of your power. This is not just a mindset shift, it's an identity shift. And identity shifts are the foundation of lasting transformation. Because when your identity changes, your habits follow, your decisions follow, your energy follows, and your reality reflects it all. That's the mirror. That's the magic. That's the step that changes everything. Not because it's flashy, but because it's foundational. So the next time you feel the pull to react, to defend, to doubt, to run, pause, breathe, observe, and remember, you are not your reaction. You are not your fear. You are not your past. You are the one who chooses. You are the one who writes. You are the one who responds from wisdom, not wounds. And with that response, you set a new reality into motion. Chapter 4. Unveiling the mind's programming, the subconscious blueprint. Let's start with something that might shake you to your core. 95% of your daily actions, decisions, and emotional responses are not conscious choices. They are automatic, subconscious, pre-programmed. Which means, most of the time, it's not you making the decisions, it's your programming. That can feel scary, but it's actually a gift. Because if your life is being created by a hidden script, then changing your life is as simple and as profound as rewriting that script. But first, you have to see it. You have to unveil it. You have to meet the subconscious blueprint that's been running the show behind the curtain of your awareness. You were born into this world a blank canvas, a being of infinite potential, pure curiosity, and unfiltered presence. And then, slowly but surely, the programming began. Not maliciously, not even intentionally, but relentlessly. Words spoken in passing became gospel. Tones of disapproval shaped your sense of safety. Behaviors modeled by your caregivers taught you who to be and how to behave. Over time, these repeated inputs formed patterns, and those patterns calcified into beliefs, and those beliefs became your subconscious operating system, the hidden architecture that now determines how you love, how you trust, how you view money, success, self-worth, possibility. You're not broken. You're just running outdated software. The subconscious doesn't respond to logic. It responds to repetition, emotion, and environment. So even if you consciously say, "I want to be successful," but your subconscious holds a buried belief that success equals abandonment or danger or not being good enough, you'll sabotage it. Not out of weakness, but out of protection. The mind's job is not to make you happy. It's to keep you safe. And if your mind learned at some point in the past that being seen, being wealthy, being loved came with pain or risk, it will create every excuse, distraction, or detour to keep you in the known. That's why people say, "I know what to do, but I just can't seem to do it." It's not about discipline. It's about programming. To rewrite this blueprint, you must first reveal it, and that requires radical honesty. It requires pausing long enough to ask yourself, what beliefs am I running that I never chose? What assumptions do I carry about myself, others, or the world that I inherited, absorbed, or endured, but never examined? That's the inner excavation. That's the beginning of freedom. Because what you don't reveal, you cannot heal. And what you don't own will quietly own you. Generational and social conditioning. Now let's go deeper, because your programming didn't begin with you. It began generations ago. The thoughts you think may not be yours. The fears you carry may be echoes of your ancestors. Science now confirms what mystics have always known. Trauma, belief systems, and emotional patterns can be passed down through generations via epigenetics and behavior modeling. That means your grandmother's scarcity may live in your budget. Your father's anger may show up in your relationships. Your mother's insecurity may echo in your self-talk. We inherit more than eye color. We inherit pain, perspectives, and paradigms. But here's the empowering truth. You are the interruption. You are the pattern breaker. The cycle ends with you. Social conditioning adds another layer. From the moment you enter society, you're taught how to conform. Schools condition obedience. Media programs comparison. Culture celebrates hustle, shame, image, conformity. You're fed ideals of success that are externally defined and often spiritually empty. You're trained to value productivity over presence, popularity over authenticity, answers over curiosity. And if you're not awake, you'll chase goals that were never yours. You'll live lives built on should instead of soul. You'll sacrifice your essence for acceptance and call it ambition. Waking up from this conditioning isn't an act of rebellion. It's an act of remembrance. You are not who society told you to be. You are not limited by your lineage. You are not bound by your upbringing. You are a sovereign being, capable of discerning, defining, and directing your own narrative. But first, you must become conscious of the unconscious. You must bring awareness to the autopilot. You must zoom out and ask, whose voice is this? Whose dream am I chasing? Whose fear am I living out? Because only when you question the source can you reclaim your truth. And let me be clear, this isn't about blaming your parents, your culture, or your past. It's about liberating yourself. They did the best they could with the tools they had. Now it's your turn. You get to build new tools. You get to upgrade the operating system. You get to create an inner environment that's aligned with where you're going, not where you've been. That's not just healing, it's evolution. Identifying limiting scripts. So how do you spot these invisible scripts that are quietly shaping your reality? You look at the patterns. Your life is a mirror, and the reflections don't lie. Repeated cycles are clues. Emotional triggers are breadcrumbs. The stories you keep telling about why you can't, why it's hard, why it never works, those are the scripts. And they usually come disguised as facts. But they're not facts. They're filters. Filters that color your perception, narrow your choices, and keep you reliving the past instead of rewriting it. Here's a truth that might sting at first, but liberate you later. If a pattern keeps repeating in your life, be it toxic relationships, financial struggle, self-doubt, or burnout, it's not just bad luck. It's a loop. And every loop has a root. Find the root, and you set yourself free. Maybe the root is a belief like, I'm not worthy of love, or people always leave, or success means I'll lose myself. These beliefs were likely formed in moments of high emotional intensity, moments you may not even consciously remember, but the body remembers, the nervous system remembers, and until those beliefs are seen, felt, and upgraded, they will continue to write the same ending to every new beginning. One powerful way to identify these scripts is to journal your emotional reactions. Anytime you feel a strong emotional charge, anger, jealousy, fear, shame, pause. Don't analyze it right away. Just write down what happened, how you felt, and what thoughts ran through your mind. Then look for the deeper story beneath those thoughts. What belief is being activated? What fear is being exposed? If you keep asking why like a curious child, eventually you'll hit the core. And once you see the core, you can start to question it, challenge it, rewire it. Another way is to listen to your language. Pay attention to phrases like, I always, or I never, or that's just how I am. Those are script cues. Any statement that feels absolute, rigid, or final is usually a protective mechanism. But identity is fluid, and your mind is neuroplastic, which means your scripts are not your sentence. They're your starting point. Rewriting your internal code. Now we arrive at the most exciting part, the rewriting. Once you've revealed the limiting code, you get to replace it, not with fluffy affirmations that you don't believe, but with empowered truths that resonate with your soul. This process isn't about denial. It's about redesign. You're not pretending the past didn't happen. You're using it as data, as compost, as a foundation for something truer, deeper, and more aligned. And you're building it with repetition, intention, and emotional resonance. Start with identity. Instead of saying, I want to be confident, start affirming, I am someone who speaks with clarity and presence. Instead of saying, I'm trying to heal, say, I am healing daily, and I trust the process. Your mind needs to feel the truth of it, not just hear the words. That's why emotion is the secret sauce. When you repeat a new belief while feeling gratitude, joy, or peace, It lands deeper. It sticks. Because the subconscious learns through feeling. It remembers what is emotionally charged. So charge your affirmations with presence, breath, movement, music, whatever activates your heart. Visualization is another powerful tool. See yourself living the new script, not just in a vision board kind of way, but embodying it. Feel what it's like to walk into a room with certainty, to handle challenges with grace, to receive love without fear. When you visualize with emotion, you're not just daydreaming, you're reprogramming. You're rehearsing a new future until it becomes familiar. And the mind will always choose the familiar. So make expansion your new comfort zone. Don't underestimate the power of small daily upgrades. Each time you catch a limiting belief and choose a new one, you're building a new neural pathway. Each time you act in alignment with your future self, you reinforce a new identity. This is how transformation becomes inevitable. Not through massive overnight change, but through consistent, conscious evolution. Step by step, script by script, thought by thought. Until one day you look back and realize you're no longer the person who once lived inside those old stories. Chapter 5. The Sacred Number 33. Numerology and Symbolic Insight. Let's begin with a number that has echoed through secret teachings, sacred texts, ancient monuments, and mystical systems for millennia. 33. Not 29, not 40, not 72. 33. It shows up again and again, whispered in shadows and emblazoned in light. But why? Why this number? Why does the number 33 carry such weight across spiritual, metaphysical, and esoteric traditions? Because it is not just a number, it is a frequency, a code, a bridge between matter and spirit, mind and soul, form and formlessness. And once you understand its meaning, once you feel its vibration in your bones, you'll never look at reality the same way again. Numerology, the study of the spiritual significance of numbers, has long held that numbers are more than quantities. They are archetypes, symbols, energy signatures that hold meaning beyond math. In numerology, 3 is the number of creativity, expression, communication, joy, and expansion. It is the triangle, the first shape to create form and structure in the universe. Multiply that by itself, and you arrive at 33. Not just a master number, but the master of the master numbers, the teacher, the healer, the cosmic revealer. It's the number of spiritual leadership and divine service, of embodying higher truth for the benefit of all. When you see the number 33 appearing in your life, on clocks, receipts, addresses, it is more than coincidence. It's a nudge, a whisper from the universe calling you to remember your higher path, to wake up to your divine assignment, to align your earthly self with your spiritual essence. Because 33 isn't just about mysticism, it's about mastery. And true mastery isn't about control, it's about surrender. It's about letting go of ego and stepping fully into purpose. And that can feel terrifying, but also electrifying. Because when you align with the vibration of 33, your life begins to reflect a new level of synchronicity, power, and presence. You become a walking invitation to transformation. 33 in ancient systems and Freemasonry. You don't have to dig too deep to see that the number 33 has been revered across ancient cultures, religious systems, and spiritual orders. In the human body, there are 33 vertebrae in the spinal column, the bridge between earth and heaven within your own physiology. In the Bible, Jesus is said to have lived 33 years before resurrection, symbolizing the rise of divine consciousness after the death of the ego. In Islam, the Tasbih prayer beads repeat phrases of remembrance 33 times. In Hinduism, the Rigveda speaks of 33 deities. And in Buddhism, the Triastrimsa heaven, the second level of heaven, is ruled by 33 gods. This is not random, it's revelation. Freemasonry, one of the most secretive and symbol-rich organizations in history, elevates its highest rank to the 33rd degree, not the 30th, not the 40th, the 33rd. This final degree isn't achieved by passing tests or collecting titles. It's a recognition, an initiation into a deeper understanding of life, truth, and the divine architecture of reality. Masonic teachings aren't just about rituals. They're blueprints for awakening. Symbols like the square and compass, the all-seeing eye, the twin pillars, each are metaphors for inner transformation. The 33rd degree is symbolic of reaching a level where knowledge becomes wisdom and wisdom becomes embodied. It's not about hoarding secrets. It's about living truth. Even in architecture and global design, you can find this number encoded. Ancient pyramids, temples, and sacred cities often align to coordinates or patterns involving the number 33. The 33rd parallel north passes through some of the most geopolitically charged locations in the world, from ancient Babylon to modern-day conflict zones. Coincidence or code? What if the number 33 is a signal, a celestial password woven into reality, waiting for those with eyes to see and hearts to feel? But here's the most important part. You don't have to be a Mason, a monk, or a mystic to access the energy of 33. You just have to be willing to shift, to elevate, to let go of the old self and embrace the higher self. Because the number is not the magic. You are. The number is just the mirror. Ascension and mastery. It's a word we throw around often, but few understand its depth. Mastery is not perfection. It's not the absence of struggle. It's not being above pain or beyond human experience. Real mastery is the ability to remain conscious within it all, to choose love in the face of fear, to respond instead of react, to stand tall even when your knees tremble. The number 33 represents this level of living, a soul that has walked through fire, not to escape it, but to transmute it. A being that teaches by being. That shifts reality, not by force, but by frequency. Ascension is not about escaping your body or floating above the world. It's about embodying your divinity while walking through this human experience. It's about raising your internal vibration so high that even your shadows begin to alchemize. It's about elevating your perspective until every problem becomes a portal, every wound becomes a window, and every trigger becomes a teacher. This is what 33 invites you into, a path of embodied enlightenment. You don't need a robe, a title, or a mountaintop. You need presence, courage, integrity, and an unshakable commitment to truth. What does mastery look like in real life? It looks like holding space instead of taking space, listening deeply instead of proving loudly, acting from intention rather than impulse, creating with purpose not from fear, choosing healing when judgment would be easier, and showing up every day with the quiet fire of someone who knows who they are, not in arrogance, but in reverence. Because mastery is not about being above others. It's about being anchored in self so deeply that your presence lifts others. The path of 33 isn't for the faint of heart. It requires you to die to every false version of yourself, to shed the layers of people-pleasing, performing, and pretending, to leave behind the identities you outgrew, but kept wearing out of habit. It's the kind of transformation that burns. But on the other side, you become someone new, not because you added something, but because you finally remembered who you were. The spiritual geometry of transformation. Every number has a shape, and every shape tells a story. 3, as we mentioned earlier, forms a triangle, the first closed shape in geometry. It represents harmony, balance, and the divine triad, mind, body, spirit. When you triple this form, when you enter the geometry of 33, you enter a higher resonance of creation. You are no longer operating in isolated energies. You are weaving them together, integrating them, mastering the structure of your soul. Sacred geometry tells us that reality is built on patterns: fractal, recursive, precise. The Fibonacci sequence, the golden ratio, the flower of life. These aren't just pretty designs. They are the fingerprints of creation. And they all point to one truth. Transformation is a structured process. It is not chaos, it is coded. And 33 is part of that code. It signals a moment when the structure of your inner world is being rewritten, when your energetic blueprint is ready for an upgrade, when you are being invited to build something new, not just outside, but within. Think of yourself as a temple, a structure of sacred architecture. Every thought, belief, and intention is a brick. Every choice is a beam. Every breakthrough is a window letting in more light. And 33 is the moment you step into your role as architect. You stop waiting for permission. You stop blaming the blueprint. You pick up the tools, stand in your truth, and say, "Let's build something worthy of who I really am." This doesn't mean life stops testing you. It means you stop failing the same tests, because now you see the pattern. Now you see the lesson. Now you walk into every challenge with a builder's eye and a healer's heart. You know that everything that crumbles makes space for something greater. And you no longer fear collapse because you've learned to rise. Chapter 6. Inner Alchemy. Transmuting fear into power. You will never escape fear. Let's get that out of the way right now. You will never grow so evolved, so spiritual, or so wise that fear simply disappears. That's not the point. The point is not to erase fear, but to alchemize it, to take what once paralyzed you and turn it into rocket fuel. That is the sacred work of the inner alchemist. Not to pretend life is always light and love, but to become the kind of person who meets the shadows and says, "You came to teach me something. Let's talk." Transmuting fear into power is not a trick. It's a transformation, and it begins the moment you stop running and start listening. Think of fear not as your enemy, but as your compass. If something terrifies you, and I mean truly terrifies you, the kind of fear that makes your chest tighten and your throat close up, that's the doorway to your next level. Because the deepest fears often guard the most powerful truths. The fear of speaking your truth often hides your gift of powerful communication. The fear of being seen masks your role as a leader. The fear of failure reveals your potential for mastery. The fear of success hides your readiness to rise. It's not a wall, it's a veil. And the moment you look at it with eyes of courage instead of shame, it begins to dissolve. Alchemy in the ancient world was the process of turning base metals like lead into gold. But real alchemy, the kind we're talking about now, happens inside. You take the raw, messy, often painful material of your life, and through presence, self-awareness, and fierce honesty, you transmute it into wisdom, clarity, and power. And just like with physical alchemy, there is heat involved, pressure, fire. Inner alchemy is not soft work. It is sacred labor. It demands that you stay present with what you'd rather avoid, that you bring light into the places that have only ever known darkness. Shadow integration. To be whole, you must be willing to meet your shadow, and not just meet it, befriend it. That might sound strange, even dangerous, but nothing will sabotage your reality-shifting journey faster than disowning the parts of yourself you find unacceptable. You cannot cherry-pick your way to wholeness. You cannot shame yourself into power. You must go within and find the parts you've labeled as wrong, weak, or broken, and integrate them. You must look at your anger, your insecurity, your jealousy, your pain, and say, "I see you. You belong here." The shadow is not evil. It's exiled. It's the wounded child hiding behind the curtain, waiting for someone to say, "You're safe now." And every time you suppress it, deny it, or numb it, it only grows stronger in the background. The more you ignore your shadow, the more it controls you. But when you face it, when you sit with it without flinching, you reclaim your power. You stop being at war with yourself. You stop projecting your unhealed parts onto others. And you begin to walk in a kind of calm clarity that is unmistakable. That's when people start saying, there's something different about you. Because there is. You're not leaking energy trying to be someone else. You're finally standing in your whole self. Shadow integration is not a one-time event. It's a lifelong process, and it often begins with deep discomfort. But here's the breakthrough. The moment you stop resisting your discomfort and start learning from it, it transforms. Your triggers become tools. Your shame becomes sacred. Your breakdowns become portals. You start to see that everything you thought was in the way is actually part of the way. That is inner alchemy. That is real, sustainable change. The energy of intention. You've heard it before. Energy flows where attention goes. But let's take it deeper. Intention is not just where you place your focus. It's the frequency behind your focus. You can be doing all the right things externally, but if your internal signal is fear, doubt, or desperation, that's what you're radiating. Intention is your energetic signature. It's what the universe listens to, responds to, and reflects back. It's the difference between forcing something and magnetizing it, between trying to control and choosing to align, between pushing and allowing. Inner alchemy requires that you become hyper-aware of your intentions, not just what you want, but why you want it. Do you want success to prove you're enough? Do you want love to fill a void? Do you want peace so you can avoid conflict? These unconscious motives shape your results more than any goal-setting session ever could, because life doesn't respond to what you say. It responds to what you believe, to the energetic truth you carry in your body. That's why two people can say the same affirmation, but only one experiences change. One is declaring truth, the other is pleading for it. The difference? Intention. So how do you shift your intention? You get radically honest. You sit with your desires and ask, what is the energy behind this? If it's fear, shame, or lack, you don't judge it. You just meet it. You bring awareness to it, and then you elevate it. You choose a new intention, one aligned with love, truth, and freedom, and you repeat that choice over and over until it becomes embodied, until your presence starts to speak louder than your words. That's when your life starts to shift in ways that seem impossible. That's when you become magnetic, not by trying, but by being. Using the past as fuel. The past is not meant to define you, but it is meant to refine you. Everything you've been through, every heartbreak, mistake, trauma, and detour, it's all raw material for your becoming. Most people carry their past like a burden. You must learn to carry it like a torch. Inner alchemy means turning your pain into power, your wounds into wisdom, your regrets into revelations. It means looking at your past not as a graveyard, but as a gold mine. The greatest version of you is buried underneath the very experiences you've tried to forget, dig, unearth, reclaim. This doesn't mean romanticizing your pain or pretending everything happened for a reason. It means owning your story fully, without shame, without edits, without spiritual bypassing. Your past does not need to be perfect to serve you. It just needs to be integrated, and that integration begins when you stop asking, why did this happen to me? And start asking, how can I use this? That's the pivot. That's the power. That's where healing becomes transformation. Think of every challenge you faced as a training ground. Every betrayal taught you discernment. Every loss taught you presence. Every failure taught you resilience. Every moment of powerlessness taught you to access a deeper source of strength. You don't need to erase your past to move forward. You need to extract the gold from it. And when you do, you become unshakable, because nothing in your story owns you. You own it. Your story, your whole story, is your strength. Not just the polished parts, the messy, raw, chaotic parts too. That's where your medicine is. That's where your empathy lives. That's where your leadership is born. You are not just someone who went through things. You are someone who transformed through things. And that distinction, that's the fire that changes lives. Inner alchemy is the forgotten art of transformation. Not by escaping, not by pretending, but by transmuting. By meeting yourself fully and fiercely. By holding both your light and your shadow with reverence. By moving from reaction to intention. By using every piece of your story as fuel. This is not work for the faint-hearted. This is the work of initiates, of masters in the making. And the truth is, you don't have to wait until you're healed to start living this way. You just have to decide, right now, that you will no longer outsource your power, suppress your pain, or postpone your truth. You are the alchemist. You are the fire. You are the one who turns lead into gold. Don't wait for someone to hand you the formula. You are the formula. Trust that. Stand in that. Live from that. And watch what happens next. Chapter 7. Quantum Shifting Parallel Timelines and Infinite Possibility. Have you ever wondered if you're living in the right version of your life? If, somewhere out there, there's an alternate version of you who made different choices, took different risks, and created a different future. The truth is, there are infinite versions of you existing in parallel timelines, each one reflecting a slightly different path you could have taken. Every choice you make, every thought you think, creates a new timeline, a new reality. This is the mind-blowing concept of quantum shifting. And it's not just theory, it's the science of your reality. The power to shift your timeline, to shift your life, is already within you. You're not stuck. You've never been stuck. You've only been unaware of your ability to jump from one timeline to the next, creating a reality that better aligns with the person you want to be. Every moment you live, you are faced with choices. Those choices create ripples in the quantum field, the invisible web of energy and potential that connects all possibilities. The moment you decide to shift your perspective, to change your beliefs, or to take a new action, you are shifting into a new timeline. It's as though you're jumping between dimensions, not in some far-off science fiction world, but in your own life. The version of you who walks with confidence, who speaks with authenticity, who makes decisions without hesitation, that version exists in a different timeline, just as real and just as accessible as the version of you who is unsure, indecisive, or afraid. The difference is this: the timeline you're in right now is the one you've chosen through your thoughts, emotions, and actions up until this very moment. But you can step into a new one. The door is always open. You just need to walk through it. Quantum shifting is not about escaping your current reality. It's about understanding that you're not locked into it. You are the observer of your own life, and it is your observation that shapes the outcome. Your current reality is the result of your past beliefs and actions, but the moment you shift your beliefs, your energy, or your focus, you begin to collapse a new version of reality into existence. The choice to shift is yours, but it requires courage. It requires the willingness to step away from the familiar, from the patterns that have kept you safe but small, and trust that the universe will align with your new vision. It's like pressing the reset button on your life, but in a way that feels effortless, because you're simply tapping into the truth of who you are and who you were always meant to be. The observer effect. In the world of quantum physics, there's a phenomenon known as the observer effect. It's the idea that the act of observing something actually changes its state. In simpler terms, what you focus on, you influence. And this isn't just true for the outside world. It's true for your inner world as well. The moment you begin observing your thoughts, emotions, and actions with awareness, you begin to shift the energy around them. You begin to become the creator of your reality instead of just a bystander. The power lies in your observation. Most people are asleep at the wheel of their own lives, simply reacting to circumstances instead of consciously choosing their responses. But when you step into the role of the observer, when you stop identifying with every thought that arises and every emotion that stirs, you unlock the ability to consciously choose your next move, your next thought, your next belief. Think about it. How often have you found yourself caught up in the whirlwind of your thoughts, believing every single one? How many times have you allowed your feelings to dictate your actions, only to regret them later? The observer effect teaches us that the moment we take a step back, detach from the story we're telling ourselves, and simply observe without judgment, we create a new opportunity for change. When you're no longer emotionally entangled in every thought and reaction, you can choose differently. You can decide that the fear you're feeling doesn't define you, that the doubts in your mind are not facts. And from that place of awareness, you begin to make decisions from a higher level of consciousness. You are no longer the victim of your circumstances. You are the creator of your experience. This is the foundation of quantum shifting. It begins with awareness. The more you observe your thoughts without judgment, the more you see where you're unconsciously creating patterns that no longer serve you. You begin to notice where your energy is scattered or misaligned, and from that awareness, you can shift your frequency. Every thought you observe is an opportunity to choose again. And when you begin to observe with the intention of shifting into a higher version of yourself, the universe responds. The observer effect works in your favor, and as you shift your thoughts, you shift your reality. Choosing your frequency. Your frequency is the vibration you emit into the world. It's the energetic signature that people pick up on before you even speak. It's the energy you radiate, and it's what attracts experiences, people, and opportunities into your life. The key to quantum shifting is learning to consciously choose your frequency. Your current frequency is the result of your past emotional patterns and thought processes. If you've been living in fear, doubt, or lack, your frequency matches that energy. But here's the exciting part. You can change your frequency at any time. Just like a radio tuner shifts from one station to the next, you can shift your energy, your thoughts, and your emotions to align with a higher vibration. What happens when you shift your frequency? You start to attract a different kind of reality. The situations, people, and experiences that once seemed out of reach start to flow effortlessly toward you. It's like magic, but it's not magic. It's quantum physics. When you align your frequency with the version of yourself you want to embody, you begin to draw that version into your life. If you want to attract love, joy, abundance, and success, you must first choose to embody those frequencies within yourself. It's about choosing to radiate confidence, positivity, and an abundance, even when your outer circumstances don't yet reflect those things. The more you hold that frequency, the more it becomes your reality. Your outer world can only reflect the frequency you're broadcasting. So, if you want to see a shift in your life, it begins with a shift in your energy, aligning with a new version of you. Here's the truth. The version of you that you've always dreamed of being already exists. That future version of you, the one who is confident, successful, calm, and at peace. She is not some distant, unattainable dream. She is real. She is living in another timeline, just waiting for you to align with her. And the moment you decide to step into that version of yourself, everything begins to change. You don't need to wait for external circumstances to shift. You don't need to wait until you have more money, more time, or more validation. You need to align with that version of yourself right now. The future you is not far off. She is here within you, just waiting to be expressed. And the moment you decide to align with her frequency, you begin to collapse that version of reality into your present moment. The process of aligning with a new version of yourself involves letting go of the old stories and identities that have been holding you back. It involves deciding that you are no longer defined by your past mistakes, fears, or failures. You are not the version of yourself who is struggling, doubting, or playing small. You are the version of yourself who is unstoppable, powerful, and free. And the moment you choose to step into that energy, the universe begins to rearrange itself around you. Things that once seemed impossible now feel effortless. Opportunities that once felt out of reach are now within your grasp. Because when you align with the version of yourself who is already living your dream, your reality begins to mirror that truth. You are not waiting for your life to change. You are stepping into the version of yourself who has already created that change. Chapter 8. The Tools of Transformation. Meditation and Stillness. In the midst of the noise, the chaos, and the constant rushing of our lives, there is a simple, yet profoundly powerful tool waiting to reconnect you to your true self: meditation. Imagine the world around you quieting down, the flood of thoughts slowing, and in that stillness, you can finally hear the whisper of your soul. This is not a far-off mystical experience reserved for monks on mountaintops. This is a practice, a tool available to you in the very moment you choose to step into it. Meditation, at its core, is the art of slowing down to access the wisdom that already resides within you. It is the gateway to inner peace, to clarity, and most importantly, to the shifts you're ready to make in your reality. At first, the idea of sitting still might feel uncomfortable. Your mind will race. The thoughts you've been avoiding will surface. You might think, "I'm not doing this right." But here's the truth. There's no wrong way to meditate. The only requirement is your willingness to sit in stillness, to detach from the external world, and allow yourself to simply be. In that space, you are not the endless stream of thoughts, worries, and anxieties that usually consume you. You are the observer. And the more you meditate, the more you begin to understand that you are not your thoughts. You are not your emotions. You are something far deeper, far more expansive. In this space, you learn to hear the subtle language of your intuition, the inner guidance that's always available, waiting for you to tune in. But meditation is not just about sitting in silence. It's about creating an internal environment where transformation can take place. It's about shifting from the constant doing, the relentless striving, into the being, into the presence of who you truly are. When you meditate, you are practicing the art of presence, and presence, my friend, is the foundation for all transformation. If you want to shift your reality, you must first learn to become fully present to the moment you're in. When you are present, you are not caught up in the past or the future. You are not dwelling on mistakes, regrets, or worries about what's to come. You are here in the now, in full alignment with your true power. And that is where transformation begins. The practice of meditation connects you to your highest self. It helps you remember who you are beneath the layers of fear, doubt, and conditioning. In the stillness, you access the truth that you are capable, worthy, and powerful beyond measure. Every time you sit in meditation, you are aligning yourself with the energy of transformation. You are sending a message to the universe that you are ready to step into your next level of existence. Meditation is your reset button, your opportunity to recalibrate your energy and shift into the version of yourself who has already created the life you desire. It is the tool that gives you the clarity, the peace, and the insight needed to make powerful changes in your reality. Visualization and identity creation. If meditation is the gateway to transformation, visualization is the map. Visualization is the art of creating a mental picture of the reality you desire. and aligning yourself with the emotions, thoughts, and beliefs that match that picture. This tool is more than just wishful thinking. It is the act of embodying the future you want to create, of stepping into that version of yourself right now in this moment. Visualization works because it taps into the subconscious mind, the powerful part of you that governs 95% of your thoughts and behaviors. The subconscious doesn't know the difference between what is real and what is vividly imagined. So when you visualize your ideal life, when you see yourself living with confidence, success, love, or abundance, your subconscious begins to accept that vision as your new reality. The more you visualize, the more your subconscious mind aligns with that vision, and the more your outer reality begins to reflect it. But here's where the magic happens. Visualization isn't just about imagining what you want to create. It's about aligning with the feeling of already having it. The emotion you feel as you visualize is the key. It's not enough to see the house, the car, the relationship, or the career. You must feel the joy, the excitement, the gratitude, and the peace as if you are already living that life. This emotional alignment is what shifts your energy and activates the law of attraction. You are not just dreaming about a better future. You are stepping into the energy of that future right now. Your vibration matches the reality you desire, and in doing so, you draw that reality closer to you. Visualization, when done with emotion and conviction, is a powerful tool for manifestation. It is not just daydreaming. It is a deliberate act of creation, breath, and presence. In the hustle and bustle of modern life, one of the most powerful tools we have is also the most overlooked: our breath. Our breath is our connection to the present moment, and yet, how often do we allow ourselves to breathe fully and consciously? The act of breathing deeply, of filling your lungs with air and letting it out slowly, is an immediate gateway to relaxation, clarity, and presence. When you focus on your breath, you break the cycle of anxiety, overthinking, and stress. You return to the here and now. The simple act of conscious breathing can shift your energy in an instant. It's a tool so simple, yet so profoundly transformative. When you breathe deeply, you send a signal to your nervous system that it's okay to relax. You activate your parasympathetic nervous system, the part of your body responsible for rest and digestion, and you release the tension that has built up in your mind and body. Breath is a bridge between the physical and spiritual realms. It is the tool you can use to reconnect with your own power, to shift out of fear and into peace. When you are present with your breath, you become present with your life. You stop living on autopilot, reacting to the world around you, and start taking conscious control of your experience. By slowing down and focusing on your breath, you open the door to true transformation. Every inhale is an opportunity to invite calm, clarity, and power into your life. Every exhale is a chance to release what no longer serves you. And with each conscious breath, you move closer to the person you were always meant to be. Anchoring new patterns. Transformation requires more than just inspiration. It requires action. And one of the most effective ways to anchor new patterns into your life is through consistent practice. The key to creating lasting change is repetition. When you commit to practicing the tools of transformation, whether it's meditation, visualization, or conscious breathing, on a daily basis, you begin to rewire your brain. You begin to replace old, limiting patterns with new, empowering ones. Change doesn't happen overnight, but with consistency, it becomes inevitable. The act of anchoring new patterns involves more than just doing the work. It involves becoming the person who consistently shows up for themselves. It's about making a commitment to your growth, to your evolution, and to your future. The more you practice, the more those new patterns become ingrained in your subconscious. They move from being something you have to consciously think about to being something that feels natural and automatic. It's like learning to play an instrument. At first, the notes are clumsy, the rhythm off, but with practice, the music flows effortlessly. Similarly, As you anchor new patterns into your life, the shifts become smoother, more fluid, and more in alignment with who you're becoming. Chapter 9. Collapse the old identity, letting go of the known self. We all have an identity, a set of beliefs, and an image we've constructed over time about who we are. This identity is like a protective shell that keeps us safe, familiar, and comfortable within the confines of our own experience. But what if this identity is holding you back from becoming the person you were always meant to be? What if the very thing that has defined you until now, your beliefs, your stories, and the way you see the world, is the one thing preventing you from shifting into the next version of yourself? You see, the identity we cling to is not necessarily who we truly are. It is simply who we've learned to be. It's the collection of experiences, societal expectations, family programming, and personal choices that have formed the lens through which we view ourselves and the world. But here's the harsh truth. Your old identity is built on the past, on who you were, not on who you are becoming. In order to step into the life you desire, you must let go of the person you once were. This isn't easy. It feels terrifying. The ego doesn't like to be shaken or challenged. It doesn't like the idea of being replaced by something new, something unknown. And yet, if you want to change your reality, you must shed your old self like a snake sheds its skin, making space for the person you are meant to become. The process of letting go of the known self requires immense courage. It asks you to challenge your beliefs, your fears, and your comfort zones. It asks you to take a step into the unknown. But here's the secret. It is only in letting go of the old identity that the new one can emerge. When you hold on to your old stories and labels, you are keeping yourself trapped in a cycle that no longer serves you. You are holding yourself back from the life that is waiting for you. So, ask yourself, who are you if you strip away the stories, the beliefs, and the labels? What would it feel like to step into a version of yourself that is free from the past? What would you do, think, and create if you allowed yourself to be a blank canvas, open to new possibilities? The truth is, there is nothing holding you back but the limitations you place on yourself. You are not the person you were last year, last month, or even last week. You are evolving, constantly shifting, and growing. But in order to embrace this growth, you must be willing to let go of who you once were. The old identity that you've been clinging to no longer serves you. It has kept you small, kept you safe, but it has also kept you stuck. To break free, you must take the leap. You must release the old identity and allow the new one to emerge. It's a terrifying and liberating experience, one that requires trust, vulnerability, and immense courage. But once you make that decision to let go, you will begin to feel the power of who you are becoming. You will begin to feel the weight lift off your shoulders, and the world will open up in ways you never imagined. Ego death and rebirth. The concept of ego death might sound dramatic or abstract, but it is one of the most powerful and transformative experiences you can have on your journey of self-realization. The ego, in its essence, is not inherently bad. It's the part of you that helps you navigate the world. It's your sense of individuality and personal identity. But over time, the ego can become overly attached to the things that define it: your career, your possessions, your appearance, your relationships, and your achievements. The ego wants to protect you, to keep you safe, but in doing so, it often keeps you locked in a limiting, narrow perspective. Ego death is the experience of realizing that you are not your ego. You are not the sum of your thoughts, your past, or your achievements. You are the infinite awareness that transcends all of that. Ego death isn't about annihilating yourself. It's about letting go of the false identity that keeps you trapped in fear and limitation. It's about shedding the need for external validation and stepping into the truth of who you really are. In this process, the ego dies, but something new is born in its place. Your higher self, your true essence, your authentic being. This rebirth isn't always graceful. It's often messy, chaotic, and filled with uncertainty. As the old ego dissolves, it can feel as though the ground beneath you is disappearing, and you are floating in a void, unsure of who you are or what's next. But this void is not to be feared. It is the space of transformation, the fertile ground from which your new self will emerge. It is in this space of uncertainty that true growth happens. When you are willing to face the unknown, to let go of the past, and to trust in the process, you will experience a profound shift. You will step into a new version of yourself, one that is freer, more aligned with your truth, and more open to the infinite possibilities of life. The ego is not an enemy to be defeated, but a part of you that must be transcended. When you transcend the ego, you stop identifying with the roles you've played, the masks you've worn, and the labels you've carried. You realize that you are so much more than any of these things. You are not your job, your title, your relationships, or your achievements. You are pure consciousness, a being of infinite potential, capable of creating a life that aligns with your deepest desires. Ego death is the ultimate freedom because it frees you from the constraints of the past and allows you to step into the future with an open heart and mind. Navigating the void. The void is the space between the death of the old self and the birth of the new one. It is the place of uncertainty, fear, and transition. When you let go of your old identity, you may feel like you're floating in a sea of nothingness, unsure of who you are or where you're going. This void can be uncomfortable. It can feel like a loss of direction, a loss of self. But it is important to understand that this void is not a bad place to be. It is simply a necessary phase of growth and transformation. It is the cocoon before the butterfly, the winter before the spring. It is the moment of stillness before the next wave of change. Navigating the void requires trust. It requires faith that the universe is guiding you, even when you can't see the way forward. It requires patience, allowing the new version of yourself to emerge in its own time without forcing it. The void is not a place of emptiness. It is a place of potential. It is the quiet before the storm of creation. In this space, you are being reshaped. You are being refined. And when you emerge from the void, you will be more aligned with your true self than ever before. The key to navigating the void is to surrender to it. Let go of the need for control and allow the process to unfold naturally. Trust that this space is not a place of stagnation, but a place of transformation. Every moment you spend in the void is an opportunity for your new self to crystallize, and when you emerge, you will step into a life that is more expansive, more aligned, and more fulfilling than anything you could have imagined. Staying grounded in the unknown. The unknown is where true transformation happens. It's where you are forced to confront your fears, your limitations, and your old beliefs. It's where you step outside your comfort zone and into a place of growth and possibility. The unknown can be terrifying. It can feel like a vast, empty space where anything is possible, and yet nothing is certain. But it is in this uncertainty that you will find your true power. Staying grounded in the unknown requires presence. It requires the ability to stay connected to the moment, even when you don't have all the answers. It requires trust in yourself and in the process of transformation. When you are grounded in the unknown, you are not afraid of what is to come. You are open to it. You are not attached to any outcome, but rather, you are allowing life to unfold as it will, knowing that everything is working in your favor. The unknown is a place of infinite possibilities. When you stay grounded in it, you are free to explore, to create, and to embrace the unknown with excitement and wonder. Chapter 10. Reality as Ritual. Every action as sacred. In the fast-paced world we live in today, it's easy to forget that every moment we experience is a gift. every breath, every step, every conversation, every decision. These are not just fleeting moments passing by. They are sacred opportunities for growth, transformation, and self-expression. But for most of us, life has become something to simply endure, a series of events that happen to us rather than for us. We wake up, go through the motions, check off our to-do lists, and get caught in the routine, often overlooking the deeper meaning embedded in every action. But what if I told you that you could shift your entire reality by treating each action as a sacred ritual? That every choice you make, from the way you wake up to the way you interact with the world, has the power to transform your life? When you begin to approach your life as a series of sacred rituals, you start to infuse meaning and intention into everything you do. You stop seeing yourself as a passive participant in your own life and start recognizing that you are the creator of your own reality. Imagine waking up every morning with the awareness that the simple act of opening your eyes is a miracle. Imagine taking a shower and feeling every drop of water as a blessing. Imagine eating your meals with gratitude and awareness, savoring each bite as an offering to your body and spirit. These may seem like small acts, but when performed with intention, they can shift your entire perspective on life. The power of treating life as a ritual lies in the presence you bring to each moment. When you engage in life with intention, you begin to change the energy around you. Everything becomes more vibrant, more alive, more meaningful. The mundane becomes extraordinary. The ordinary becomes sacred. When you treat life as a ritual, you are no longer just moving through the motions. You are engaging fully in each moment, and in doing so, you begin to align yourself with the flow of the universe. This is where real transformation begins. Every action you take becomes a step toward your higher self, a deliberate choice to embody the truth of who you are. But to do this, you must first make a decision. You must decide to bring intention into everything you do. You must choose to wake up every day with purpose and presence, to approach every task, no matter how small, with reverence and gratitude. This shift doesn't happen overnight. It takes practice, patience, and commitment. But once you begin to see life as a sacred ritual, everything changes. Your relationships, your work, your health, every area of your life will start to reflect the energy you put into it. You will begin to attract more of what you desire because you are now aligned with the frequency of abundance, love, and growth. Daily practices that reshape your world. One of the most powerful ways to transform your reality is through the daily rituals you commit to. These rituals are the small, intentional practices that anchor you in the present moment and connect you to your higher self. They may seem simple at first glance, but they carry profound power when done consistently and with purpose. These daily practices are not just habits. They are the foundation upon which your new reality is built. Start by asking yourself, what are the rituals you engage in every day? Do you wake up with intention? Or do you groggily stumble through your morning routine, feeling disconnected from yourself and the world around you? Do you take time to nourish your body, mind, and spirit? Or do you neglect your well-being in the chaos of your daily life? The rituals you practice each day determine the direction of your life. If you want to shift your reality, you must be intentional about the rituals you choose to engage in. Begin by cultivating a morning ritual that sets the tone for the rest of your day. This could be something as simple as waking up early to meditate, practicing deep breathing, or journaling your intentions for the day. The key is to start your day with a sense of purpose and mindfulness. When you approach your day from a place of intention, you are more likely to stay focused, present, and aligned with your goals throughout the day. Similarly, create an evening ritual that helps you wind down and reflect on your day. This could include practicing gratitude, reading a book, or taking a relaxing bath. By incorporating these small but powerful rituals into your day, you are signaling to the universe that you are ready to receive the abundance and transformation that is waiting for you. These daily rituals are not just about the actions themselves. They are about the energy and intention behind them. It's not enough to go through the motions. You must infuse every action with your full presence and awareness. When you do this, your rituals become a form of meditation in motion. You begin to align with your higher self, and the world around you begins to reflect this inner shift. As you continue to practice these rituals daily, you will notice a profound shift in your energy, your mindset, and the opportunities that come your way. Your life will begin to feel more purposeful, more in alignment with your true desires, and more fulfilling. Using symbols and triggers. In every culture, religion, and tradition, symbols and triggers have been used to elevate the mundane and connect us to something greater than ourselves. A symbol is a powerful tool that can evoke a deep emotional or spiritual response, often without words. Think about the cross in Christianity, the lotus flower in Buddhism, or the sacred geometry of the flower of life. These symbols carry immense power because they remind us of our connection to the divine, to the universe, and to the higher aspects of ourselves. You can harness the power of symbols in your own life by consciously choosing objects, images, or words that hold special meaning for you. These symbols can serve as triggers, reminders of the higher reality you are striving to create. For example, you might choose a specific crystal, an affirmation, or an image that resonates with your intentions for transformation. Every time you see this symbol, it acts as a trigger, reminding you of your power and your purpose. You could even create a vision board filled with symbols that represent the life you are creating. Every time you look at it, you reinforce your connection to that vision, drawing it closer into your reality. Another powerful tool is to use personal rituals throughout the day as triggers for your transformation. For example, when you drink your morning coffee or tea, you might use this moment as a ritual of gratitude, reminding yourself of the blessings in your life. Or when you pass by a particular place, you could use it as a trigger to check in with your intentions for the day. These small but meaningful actions help to keep you connected to your higher purpose and align your energy with the reality you are creating. Symbols and triggers can be anything that resonates with you personally, so take time to identify what these might be in your own life. By using them regularly, you anchor yourself in the present moment, reinforce your intentions, and align your energy with the transformation you are seeking. These small rituals add up over time, creating a powerful shift in your energy, mindset, and reality. The power of repetition with intention. One of the most powerful tools for shifting your reality is repetition. Repetition is often associated with habits, but it's much more than just doing something over and over again. Repetition with intention is the key. Every time you repeat an action or thought with intention, you are programming your subconscious mind to align with that action or belief. This is how habits are formed, and this is how new realities are created. The key is to repeat your rituals with full awareness and intention. It's not enough to simply go through the motions. You must approach each action with mindfulness and purpose. When you do this, you are reinforcing the energy behind your actions and thoughts. For example, when you repeat an affirmation, don't just say the words without thinking about them. Feel the meaning behind the words. When you meditate, don't just go through the motions. Be fully present, allowing the experience to shift your energy. The more you repeat these practices with intention, the more you will begin to see the results in your life. Repetition with intention builds momentum. It strengthens the neural pathways in your brain, creating new patterns of thinking and behaving. It's like laying down bricks in the foundation of your new reality. The more you repeat these actions, the stronger the foundation becomes. Over time, this repetition becomes automatic, and the new identity you are creating begins to feel natural. It becomes who you are, and you no longer have to consciously effort to create the life you desire. You simply become the person who embodies that reality. Chapter 11. Magnetic living, embodying the new vibration. Imagine living every day with a sense of ease, joy, and alignment, where everything flows toward you effortlessly. Imagine feeling a magnetic pull toward the things you want in life, whether it's success, love, health, or abundance, without struggling or forcing things to happen. This is the power of embodying a new vibration, a vibration that aligns with your highest self, your deepest desires, and the natural flow of the universe. When you shift your energy, when you embody a higher vibration, you stop chasing after things. Instead, you become the magnet that attracts everything you need to fulfill your dreams. The concept of magnetic living goes beyond simple manifestation techniques or positive thinking. It's not about making a vision board and hoping that the universe will deliver your desires. Magnetic living is about aligning your inner energy with the reality you want to create. When you embody a higher vibration, you no longer have to force things to happen. Instead, you attract them effortlessly. The universe, in all its wisdom, is constantly responding to your energy, your frequency. If you are operating at a low vibration, filled with doubt, fear, and scarcity, then the universe will mirror that back to you. But when you raise your vibration to one of abundance, love, and joy, the universe responds in kind. Opportunities, people, and experiences will begin to flow toward you. This is magnetic living, being a living embodiment of the energy you wish to receive. But how do you raise your vibration? It begins with your mindset, your thoughts, and your emotions. If you want to embody a new vibration, you must first shift your beliefs about yourself and the world around you. You have to let go of the old, limiting beliefs that have been holding you back. These beliefs are like weights, keeping you anchored to a lower vibration. When you release them, you free yourself to rise to a higher frequency. Start by focusing on the things that make you feel good. Surround yourself with people, experiences, and environments that elevate your energy. Do things that make you feel alive, that make you smile, that make you grateful. As you begin to cultivate these high vibration experiences, you will naturally begin to shift your energy. The law of resonance. The law of resonance is a universal principle that states that like attracts like. This law explains why certain people, situations, or opportunities seem to gravitate toward you when you're vibrating at a certain frequency. When you embody a high vibration, you resonate with the things you desire, and those things naturally come into your life. It's as if the universe is tuned to the same frequency as you, and it draws in everything that matches that energy. Think of it like tuning a radio station. If you want to listen to your favorite station, you need to tune your radio to the exact frequency of that station. If you're on the wrong frequency, you won't hear the music clearly. The same is true for your energy. If you want to attract the things you desire, whether it's a loving relationship, a thriving business, or financial abundance, you must first align yourself with the frequency of those desires. The beauty of the law of resonance is that it's not about effort or struggle. It's about alignment. When you align yourself with the energy of what you want, it becomes inevitable that those things will come into your life. The key is to stop resisting and start flowing with the energy of your desires. When you do this, you become a magnet for everything that is in alignment with your highest good. Opportunities that once seemed out of reach will suddenly appear, and people who resonate with your energy will come into your life at just the right moment. You won't have to chase anything. You won't have to force anything. The universe will respond to your vibration and bring everything you need into your experience. But how do you begin to align yourself with this new vibration? It starts with self-awareness. You must become conscious of the energy you are emitting into the world. How do you feel on a daily basis? Are you vibrating at a high frequency, filled with gratitude, joy, and love? Or are you caught in fear, frustration, and scarcity? Take a moment to tune into your emotional state. Are you holding on to old wounds, negative thoughts, or limiting beliefs? These lower frequency emotions and thoughts can block the flow of abundance in your life. To raise your vibration, you must first release these negative emotions and beliefs. Practice forgiveness, gratitude, and self-love. Choose thoughts that empower you. Engage in activities that elevate your mood and make you feel good. As you do this, you begin to align with the energy of your desires, and the law of resonance will begin to work in your favor. Attracting aligned opportunities. When you embody a high vibration energy and align yourself with the frequency of your desires, you begin to attract aligned opportunities into your life. These opportunities are not random or coincidental. They are the universe's response to your energy, to the vibration you are putting out into the world. If you're vibrating at a frequency of abundance and success, you will attract opportunities that reflect that energy. If you're vibrating at a frequency of love and joy, you will attract relationships and experiences that match that energy. But attracting aligned opportunities requires more than just wishing for something to happen. It requires you to be open, present, and ready to receive. Many people make the mistake of thinking that they can simply wish for something, and it will appear magically in their life. But the universe works in harmony with your energy. If you want to attract aligned opportunities, you must first become a match for them. This means being open to new possibilities, taking inspired action when necessary, and staying in alignment with your desires, even when things don't seem to be happening as quickly as you'd like. Aligned opportunities are often subtle at first. They may appear as small signs, synchronicities, or nudges in a new direction. The key is to stay aware and trust that the universe is working in your favor. Sometimes, opportunities don't come in the exact form you expect, but they are still aligned with your energy and purpose. Be willing to embrace change, step out of your comfort zone, and take risks. The more you stay aligned with your true self, the more opportunities will flow toward you. Confidence, certainty, and flow. As you begin to embody your new vibration and align with the law of resonance, something magical happens. You begin to experience a sense of confidence, certainty, and flow. These are the qualities that make you magnetic. When you are confident in who you are and certain that the universe is working in your favor, you radiate a powerful energy that attracts everything you desire. Confidence is not about arrogance or pride. It's about having a deep inner knowing that you are worthy of everything you desire and that the universe will deliver it to you at the perfect time. Certainty is the belief that your desires are already on their way to you, even when you can't see the evidence yet. It's trusting the process and knowing that you are in perfect alignment with the universe's plan for your life. When you are certain, you are no longer attached to the outcome. You trust that whatever is meant for you will come, and you are fully present in the journey. Flow is the natural state of being when you are in alignment with your desires. It's when things start to feel effortless, when everything falls into place, and when you feel like you are moving with the current of life rather than against it. When you are in flow, you stop forcing and start allowing. You trust that everything is unfolding as it should, and you move through life with ease and grace. Chapter 12. The resistance within recognizing internal sabotage. Let's face it, change is hard. The idea of shifting your reality sounds fantastic, doesn't it? The notion of effortlessly attracting abundance, love, success, living the life you've always dreamed of, is undeniably compelling. But here's the catch. There's a part of you that resists it, a part that fights it tooth and nail. This part doesn't want you to have it all. It wants to keep you small, keep you stuck in your old patterns, your old ways of thinking and being. And while the part of you that desires change is ready to evolve, the part of you that resists is deeply ingrained in your subconscious, rooted in years of conditioning and fear. Understanding and addressing this inner resistance is essential if you truly want to make lasting shifts in your reality. You see, internal sabotage doesn't always show up as an obvious force, screaming at you to stop. Instead, it comes in more subtle forms: self-doubt, procrastination, fear of failure, or even self-criticism. It can feel like a whisper at the back of your mind, telling you that you're not good enough, that you don't deserve the life you dream of, or that you're just not capable of succeeding. This inner sabotage often arises when you get close to breaking through to something bigger, to something better. It shows up when you are on the brink of major transformation, and it tries to pull you back into your comfort zone, your old, familiar patterns, because change feels threatening, even if it's ultimately what you want. Recognizing these subtle forms of resistance is the first step toward overcoming them. It's about being aware of the ways in which you sabotage your own growth and refusing to let those doubts dictate your actions. Fear of success and the upper limit. One of the most insidious forms of resistance you will encounter is the fear of success. You've probably heard about the fear of failure, but what about the fear of succeeding? Most people never consider that they might be terrified of reaching their full potential, of living the life they've always wanted. The truth is, for many of us, success can feel like an uncomfortable, unfamiliar space. When you are used to living in a certain way, when you've been conditioned to believe that life should be hard, or that success is only for a select few, the idea of actually achieving success can feel like a threat to your identity. You might ask yourself, who am I if I'm successful? What will others think of me? Will I lose my friends? Will I be able to handle the responsibility that comes with success? These questions are born out of an internal resistance to change. They stem from the fear of stepping into your power and becoming the person you were always meant to be. The truth is, success doesn't just require external action. It requires an internal shift in how you see yourself. This is where the concept of the upper limit comes into play. The upper limit is a term coined by author Gay Hendricks in his book, The Big Leap. It refers to the subconscious threshold that we set for ourselves when it comes to happiness, success, and fulfillment. The upper limit is the point at which you start to feel uncomfortable with the idea of achieving more than what you think you deserve. It's like an invisible ceiling that you unconsciously place on your potential. Once you hit this upper limit, you begin to sabotage yourself, whether through procrastination, self-doubt, or other forms of self-sabotage. You may start to feel anxious or overwhelmed, as though you're not capable of handling the success that's unfolding. This fear doesn't come from your logical mind. It comes from the deep recesses of your subconscious, where your beliefs about what you deserve and are capable of reside. Breaking through emotional blocks. Breaking through emotional blocks is a vital step on your journey to shifting your reality. These blocks often manifest as emotional patterns that hold you back, making it difficult to take action or move forward in your life. They might be triggered by past traumas, negative beliefs about yourself, or unresolved emotional wounds. The longer these blocks remain unaddressed, the more they act like invisible chains, keeping you stuck in the same place, unable to move toward the life you truly desire. These emotional blocks are often rooted in fear, the fear of being vulnerable, the fear of rejection, or the fear of failure. But here's the thing. The only way to overcome these blocks is to face them head on. You can't run from your emotions. You can't ignore them. They must be acknowledged, felt, and released. One powerful way to break through emotional blocks is by practicing emotional release techniques, such as journaling, meditation, or tapping into your body's wisdom through movement. Journaling allows you to express your feelings and uncover hidden emotions that may be causing you to resist change. Through this practice, you can begin to identify the fears or limiting beliefs that are holding you back. Meditation, on the other hand, helps you quiet your mind, tune into your inner world, and become more aware of your emotional patterns. By sitting in stillness, you can create space for emotional healing to occur. Movement, such as yoga or dancing, helps to release trapped emotions in the body and shift stagnant energy. These practices not only help you release emotional blocks, but also strengthen your ability to remain present and focused on your journey of transformation. Staying committed. When change is uncomfortable. Let's face it, change is uncomfortable. Even when you know that what you're moving toward is better than where you've been, the transition can be tough. You'll likely face moments when doubt creeps in, when resistance arises, and when you question whether this new path is worth it. It's in these moments that your commitment to your transformation is truly tested. The key to staying committed during these times is to remember why you began this journey in the first place. Reflect on the life you want to create. Visualize the person you want to become. Stay connected to your vision, your goals, and your purpose. Change often requires you to step out of your comfort zone, and that discomfort is simply a sign that you're growing, that you're evolving, that you're moving closer to your true potential. To navigate this discomfort, it's essential to cultivate resilience. Resilience is the ability to stay grounded in the face of adversity. It's the ability to keep going even when things get tough, even when you feel like giving up. Resilience is not about avoiding pain. It's about learning to embrace it and use it as fuel for your growth. It's about developing the mindset that every challenge is an opportunity for learning and self-discovery. One way to build resilience is by developing a strong support system. Surround yourself with people who uplift and inspire you, who encourage you to stay committed to your transformation, even when it gets difficult. Having a solid support network can make all the difference in helping you stay focused and motivated when the going gets tough. Moving past self-doubt and fear. Self-doubt is one of the most powerful forms of resistance you'll encounter on your journey of transformation. It's the voice that tells you that you're not capable, that you don't have what it takes to succeed. It can paralyze you, making you question your every move and every decision. But here's the truth. Self-doubt is nothing more than a belief that you're not worthy or capable, and that belief is entirely made up. It's a story that your mind has been telling you for years, a story that you can choose to rewrite. The key to overcoming self-doubt is to shift your focus away from your fears and doubts and towards your strengths and successes. Remind yourself of all the times you've overcome challenges in the past, all the times you've succeeded when you didn't think you could. Reconnect with your inner power and your innate ability to navigate through life's obstacles. When you stop giving power to your doubts and start focusing on your capabilities, the resistance begins to dissolve. Remember, the only way to get past your fears is to take action despite them. Fear and self-doubt are natural parts of the human experience, but they don't have to control you. You have the power to step into your courage and move forward no matter what. Chapter 13. Walking as the Shift. Becoming the living transmission. Imagine this. You've made the choice to transform. You've faced your fears, you've confronted your limiting beliefs, and you've taken the steps to shift your reality. You've done the internal work, you've shifted your mindset, and you've embraced change. But here's the most powerful part of the process: becoming the living embodiment of that shift. This is where the real magic happens. This is where you stop just talking about transformation and start living it. The shift is no longer something you're working on in the background, something you're hoping will happen one day. The shift becomes who you are, and you begin to radiate that change in every aspect of your life. Your thoughts, your words, your actions, all align with the new version of you. You are no longer just pursuing change. You are living as the change itself. And when you walk as the shift, you not only change your life, but you also inspire others to do the same. Becoming a living transmission is not about perfection. It's about authenticity. It's about showing up in the world as the truest version of yourself, unapologetically. It's about aligning your energy with your purpose and letting that energy radiate outward. When you embody the shift, you no longer have to convince anyone of your transformation. People feel it. They see it. they are drawn to it. This is the power of living your truth. Your authenticity becomes magnetic. When you live with intention and purpose, when you show up in the world as the fullest version of yourself, your energy shifts the energy of everyone around you. You become a walking example of what's possible, and in doing so, you inspire others to follow your lead. The greatest gift you can give the world is not just your success, but the courage to walk as your highest self, the courage to live as the shift, to be the example of what's possible when you embrace change with open arms, speaking, acting, and thinking in alignment. In your journey of transformation, one of the most crucial shifts you can make is aligning your thoughts, words, and actions. Too often, we live in dissonance where what we think, what we say, and what we do are out of sync. Our thoughts might be filled with doubt and fear, while our words might express confidence, but our actions often betray our inner beliefs. The true power of transformation lies in aligning all three, thoughts, words, and actions, so that they are a reflection of the person you are becoming, not the person you were. When you align your thoughts, words, and actions, you begin to live with purpose and intention. Your thoughts become positive and empowering. Your words become affirmations of your truth, and your actions reflect your new beliefs and values. This alignment creates a powerful resonance that not only shifts your reality, but also draws in the people and opportunities that are in alignment with your new frequency. When you begin to speak, act, and think in alignment, something incredible happens. You become unstoppable. The universe begins to respond to your consistency, and opportunities flow effortlessly to you. This is not about forcing things to happen or manipulating the world around you. It's about embodying the vibration of your desired outcome and letting the world reflect that energy back to you. Your thoughts create your beliefs, your words communicate your intentions, and your actions ground those intentions in the physical world. When they are all in harmony, you become a living magnet for what you want to manifest. You no longer have to struggle or push. Things begin to flow with ease, and your life becomes a reflection of your inner alignment. But this requires practice. It requires you to be intentional with your thoughts, to speak with confidence, and to take actions that are congruent with your vision. The more you practice this alignment, the stronger your energy becomes, and the more your reality begins to shift in your favor. Shifting others by shifting yourself. There's an ancient saying that goes, "Be the change you want to see in the world." This powerful statement speaks to the core of what it means to be a living transmission. You see, when you shift yourself, you don't just change your life, you change the lives of everyone around you. The energy you carry has the power to inspire, uplift, and even transform those who come into contact with you. When you walk as the shift, you become a catalyst for change in the lives of others. You don't need to preach or force others to change. Your energy does the work for you. This is the true power of transformation. It's not just about your own growth, but about how your growth ripples outward and creates a wave of positive change in the world. It's important to understand that transformation is contagious. When you start showing up as your highest self, people begin to notice. They begin to feel the energy you are radiating, and they are drawn to it. They want what you have: the peace, the clarity, the confidence, the alignment, and they will naturally start to question their own lives and their own choices. This doesn't mean you have to try and convince anyone to change. Transformation is not about coercion. It's about leading by example. By embodying the shift, you naturally inspire others to take the steps to shift their own lives. Your presence becomes a beacon of possibility, showing others that they too can embrace their power, live authentically, and step into the life they deserve. And while you may never know the full extent of the impact you've made, trust that by walking as the shift, you are planting seeds of change in the lives of everyone you encounter. Integrity as your compass. At the heart of this journey is one guiding principle: integrity. Integrity is not just about honesty with others. It's about honesty with yourself. It's about being true to your word, your values, and your purpose, no matter the external circumstances. When you walk as the shift, integrity becomes your compass, guiding you through life's challenges and decisions. It's what keeps you aligned with your highest self, even when things get tough. Integrity is the bedrock of authenticity. It's the commitment to showing up as the person you say you are, no matter what. And when you operate with integrity, you not only build trust with others, but you also build trust with yourself. You become a person of your word, someone who honors their commitments, and someone who walks their talk. When your actions, words, and thoughts are in alignment with your values, you begin to live in integrity. This integrity strengthens your confidence and your ability to navigate life with clarity and purpose. It's easy to lose track of your values when life gets chaotic, but integrity keeps you grounded in what truly matters. It helps you make decisions that are in alignment with your highest good, even when faced with temptations or distractions. Integrity is what keeps you true to your vision, and it's what helps you stay on course when resistance arises. When you embody integrity, you become an example of what it means to live authentically and with purpose. You become someone who can be trusted, not just by others, but by yourself. Chapter 14. You who are the secret. It begins and ends with you, not with a step outside yourself, not with a search that extends into faraway lands, ancient scrolls, or whispered codes, but with the mirror you look into every morning, with the breath you just took, with the awareness reading these very words. You are the secret, and maybe, for most of your life, you were taught otherwise, taught that someone else held the key, that salvation came from a teacher, a title, a ritual, a roadmap. Maybe you were told that you had to climb a ladder to reach worthiness, or that enlightenment was reserved for the few who proved themselves in pain, struggle, or discipline. But what if I told you that the ultimate key, the final doorway, the final veil in front of you, has been you all along? Not a version of you polished for society, not the you performing to be accepted, but the raw, electric, unfiltered, fully aware presence that you truly are. Because everything we've explored, all the 33rd degree secrets that have unfolded, all the shifts and rituals and revelations, none of them matter unless you finally accept one truth. You are not the student anymore. You are the source. The step you've been searching for is you. And when you stop outsourcing your authority, when you stop looking for the guru and start embodying one, you activate the true transmission of the 33rd degree mindset. We live in a world that profits from your disempowerment. Your doubt is monetized. Your hesitation is manipulated. Every time you're made to believe that transformation lies in another's hands, the fire within you dims a little more. But here's the plot twist the system never expected. Once you realize you're the one writing the story changes. The illusion of external gurus, of needing someone else to validate your path, breaks down like a crumbling stage set. The truth is, those you once admired, the masters, the mystics, the mentors, they were all pointing back to you. The greatest secret of the secret keepers was that they were never trying to hoard wisdom. They were waiting for you to recognize that you were it. You are the one. You don't need another certification to trust your own intuition. You don't need anyone's permission to walk into your destiny. When you sit with that, when you let it land in your body, a deep silence starts to echo inside. It's not the silence of absence. It's the silence of arrival. The silence that comes when you stop striving and start remembering. You are not broken. You are not behind. You are not late. You are precisely where your soul needs to be to crack open and fully embody the power that's been whispering from within you. Your whole life, mastering the moment, doesn't mean controlling every detail. It means being present enough to recognize the divine blueprint that's already unfolding. Think about how many times you've rushed past now to get to a version of someday that never arrived. How often have you skipped the moment, hoping the next one would be more worthy of your attention? That's the old programming. That's the identity that was built on the illusion of separation. But the 33rd degree way is to collapse that illusion in real time, to breathe deeply into the present moment, not because it's perfect, but because it's real. Because this is where the frequency shifts. This is where the rewiring happens. Not in the future, not in theory, but here, now, inside the very breath you're taking. When you master the moment, you stop chasing. You stop running loops in your head. You stop abandoning yourself. You realize that the universe was never trying to test you. It was trying to show you what you already are: whole, electric, unstoppable. And from that space, clarity becomes natural. Purpose becomes effortless. Alignment becomes who you are, not something you achieve. You wake up one day and realize you're no longer fighting your past or fearing your future. You're authoring your reality moment by moment, like the master you've always been. Legacy isn't built by massive action alone. It's built in presence. It's built every time you refuse to shrink back into a version of yourself that you've already outgrown. The legacy of the 33rd degree mindset isn't about how much you achieve. It's about how fully you embody your truth. It's the quiet confidence that ripples through a room when you walk in aligned. It's the fire in your voice when you speak from your soul, not your script. It's the way others feel elevated simply by being near you. Not because you're trying to be impressive, but because you're being authentic. When you live like this, you become the activation. You become the message. You become the living embodiment of the shift. And what's wild is, when you stop trying to change the world and instead just become the shift, the world starts to mirror it back to you. You attract people, places, and experiences that reflect your alignment. You begin to move through life like it's a co-created masterpiece. Even your setbacks start to look different, not as signs that you're failing, but as invitations to integrate deeper levels of truth. You stop needing to be seen because you're already seen by yourself. You stop seeking validation because you're operating from conviction. And conviction doesn't need applause, it radiates. So here's the truth that many never fully accept. You don't find the secret, you become it. You stop waiting, you stop wishing, you stop wondering. You look in the mirror and you finally fully see what's always been there. You, the step, the shift, the source, the master, the one who went through every twist and turn not to collect more tools, but to remember that the tool is you. And from this space, you no longer ask, "What should I do next?" Instead, you declare, "Who am I becoming in this very breath?" Because that's where the real alchemy lives. In the micro moment. In the decision to embody again and again your most aligned frequency, regardless of what's happening externally. That's the real power. That's the real shift. The ability to hold your vibration in the middle of chaos. The willingness to be the transmission instead of just talking about it. That's the legacy of the 33rd degree. That's the path. That's the truth that outlasts every trend and transcends every teaching. So now we close the loop. You began this journey seeking a step, seeking a secret. And now here you are, not as a student, but as a sovereign being, no longer begging the world to give you what you now know you can generate. Your mind has changed. Your emotional architecture has evolved. Your identity has shifted. And the step you now take is not one of learning, it's one of living. Of walking as the vibration, speaking as the shift, leading as the light. You've broken the illusion. You've dismantled the programming, and now you've become the living proof that one step, one decision, one shift in awareness can collapse timelines and activate destinies. You are the evidence. You are the medicine. You are the one. There's no more hiding. There's no more waiting. The moment is now. The step is you. Chapter 15. The walk beyond the step. There comes a moment when all the information, all the insights, all the transformations must move from the mind into the marrow, from knowing into being. And that moment is now. This is the moment you choose, not just to believe a better life is possible, not just to understand that reality is yours to shape, but to finally embody that truth unapologetically in real time. There's nothing left to wait for. No more pieces missing. No more levels to unlock before you can claim the life your soul has been whispering about for years. This is the moment you breathe in your power and exhale the lies that kept you small. This is where the shift becomes permanent, because it's not something you chase anymore. It's who you are. You've walked through every chapter, peeled back every illusion, faced every shadow, and now you're standing at the edge of the final realization that the transformation you've been seeking isn't out there. It is you, not a future version of you. This, you, the one right here, right now. And as you take this final breath of this journey, you realize that the old story, the one that said you had to earn your worth, prove your power, or become someone else first, that story no longer applies. You're not chasing alignment anymore. You're living it, because the shift was always inside you. It was never about becoming someone new. It was always about remembering who you were before the world convinced you to forget, before fear got installed, before shame taught you to shrink, before success was defined by people who never saw your soul. The real shift, the only shift that ever mattered, is the one where you wake up and stop asking for permission. The one where you stop outsourcing your power and anchor into your knowing. Where you stop chasing breakthroughs and realize you are one. The truth is, everything in your life begins to change the moment you stop looking outside yourself for the miracle and recognize you've been it all along. The money, the love, the purpose, the peace, it all flows from the frequency you hold. You are the faucet, not the cup. You are the portal, not the passenger. And when you finally claim that, not in theory, but in your body, your vibration shifts from seeking to radiating. And people feel it. Life feels it. Everything reorganizes around you, not because you demanded it, but because you became it. You became the energetic command, the living evidence, the embodied invitation. And that brings us here, standing not at the end, but at the edge of a new beginning. Because the path forward is embodiment, not more reading, not more waiting, but living the frequency. Waking up each day and asking not, what should I do, but who am I being right now? It's in how you walk, how you speak, how you breathe, how you treat people when no one's watching, how you hold your alignment when it would be easier to slip back into old patterns. Embodiment is the real mastery. Not performance, not perfection, but presence. The presence to stay rooted when your mind wants to spiral.